Hello everybody, DEMONJESTERJ here with 5+ questions to a mile Mek. And my guest is today...
Octave from Play It Painted. How's it going?
How you doing today, man? Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
You ready for the questions?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm just doing a little bit of painting, so I hope you don't mind me looking down every now and then to put some paint on.
No problem.
Cool.
Your name of your channel is Play It Painted, so... So, there we go. First question is, who are you? And please tell us about yourself and your hobby, and do you have more than one hobby?
Okay, so, my name is Octave. I'm actually just more of a... I'm not a professional painter. I actually work in corporate America, but this is my hobby. I've been doing this hobby for about 25 years now, and I don't really have another hobby. You know, being a full-time dad and career and all that stuff takes up the rest of my time, so this is really it for my hobby.
Alright. Is that it? You ready for a second question?
Sure.
What got you into your hobby, and how long have you been into it?
Well, it came from, I guess, playing D&D way back when I was 12 years old. Back in 1991 was when we started adding miniatures to our RPG games, and the whole desire was to paint the miniatures. So we started miniature painting right around 1990, 1991. That's when we also discovered Games Workshop, so Warhammer 40K, all that stuff. That's when that whole thing blew up, and we started playing back then and haven't put down the hobby since.
Alright. Ready for number 3?
Sure, yeah.
When and why did you start making YouTube videos, and have you met anyone from YouTube because of it?
Okay, yeah, this is an easy one. So, I've been gaming for about, I want to say about 15 years or so before I picked up the camera, and it was kind of an accident, really. My brother, he had a YouTube channel, and he did vlogging, and he covered miniature gaming as well. And one day we were playing a game of Malifaux, and he wanted to record the game. He typically did record our games, and this particular day he forgot his camera. So he asked me, hey, do you have a camera? I happen to have one in my car. So I recorded the game that day, and then he said, hey, I want to watch it later, so can you upload it? So at that point, I had been watching YouTube for a few years for miniature gaming, and so I guess that kind of made me upload a video, start my channel, and I forgot the second part of the question already. What was it?
Have you met anyone because...
Oh, gotcha, yeah. So that's where my channel took off, and I met quite a few people through YouTube. Let's see, probably some of the most memorable people, or some of my favorite people that I met in real life from YouTube would be Tin Man XL from Steam Powered TV. Also met Kevin and Chris from Listen While You Play. And I normally have the rest of the folks that I'm tight with on YouTube. I maintain a regular online conversation with.
Cool. Ready for number 4?
Yep, ready.
Do you have any tips for anyone new getting into your hobby? And this includes creating a YouTube channel or making videos too.
Okay, so we're talking about the hobby and or adding YouTube component to the hobby. Sure. Well, my main bit of advice for people that are looking into the wargaming hobby would be don't buy anything immediately. Like, that's probably the biggest temptation when you see miniatures, when you see wargaming happening, is I need to leave this store, or I need to do something that involves me handing somebody some money and walking out of there with pride. You don't want to do that immediately. You want to do a little bit of research, talk to the people playing the games, look online, spend time watching YouTube, look up the gaming forums for whatever game you're interested in before you spend a dime. Because a lot of times you can learn a lot about a game just by downloading free rules. You'll learn a lot just by talking to people that play the game, and look for honest answers. Look for what it really does cost to get into the hobby, to start painting and all that sort of thing. So do your research. Hold on to your money, because when you start buying things, it is going to cost you some money, and you want to make sure that you're spending it the right way. If you are adding a YouTube component to your hobby, the only thing I would say there is be very clear about what your goals are when you're starting a channel. There are people that do channels for fun, and I like to put it this way: that you have people that are hobbyists that do a YouTube channel, and I would include myself in that. I'm primarily a hobbyist that happens to turn a camera on from time to time and show off my games or my painting. So there's that group of people. Then there's another group of people that are really looking to be professional YouTubers, or even more than that. Maybe they're even looking to be professional media people. And I'm not knocking you if that's what you want to do, but be very clear about that from the start. Like, if your primary goal is to be more of a media person or media person around gaming, then your path and what you end up doing for your channel is going to be very different than, say, Joe Blow hobbyist who just happens to be partaking of their hobby, and they have fun sharing it online. The other thing I would say for a YouTube channel is, if you are, we'll say, person A, who is the hobbyist who happens to have a YouTube channel, don't do things that aren't fun, even if it means you're not going to get a broader audience, you're not going to get the views or the subscribers or anything. Don't do things that aren't fun, because if this truly is your hobby, then every bit of time that you spend, every moment that you spend on your hobby or on camera should be rewarding for you. So just bear that in mind. That's my only bit of advice, I guess.
All right. You done with that question?
What's that?
You finished?
Yeah.
Number 5.
Okay.
Now, this one is an old question.
All right.
And I'm gonna try. It's been in the forums back in the day. It used to be called cheating. Now everybody that does it doesn't. No one cares. But
right.
It's. Do you use an airbrush?
Mm-hmm.
If so, do you usually mostly for like primer coating and that, or do you just plainly use a paintbrush?
Sure. These days, I do a mix of both. I use an airbrush for my priming, and my primary undercoating, and sometimes I will do zenithal priming or zenithal highlighting before I actually go at it with a brush. This is, I would say I use what is called a dumbed-down version of the Heraldez method. So for those of you who are familiar with Angel Heraldez, he's obviously one of the biggest names in painting, and he uses a combination really of airbrushing and traditional brushing. So yeah, I'd say I use a bit of both. As far as my preference, I do prefer good old standard brush painting, but I do also, in terms of production and getting pieces out quickly and neatly, I do appreciate the use of an airbrush.
All right. Ready for number 6?
Yeah.
What was your favorite mini or model to build and paint, and why?
Oh, wow. This is probably the hardest question. My favorite miniature to paint of all time is a pretty simple model. It's the original metal Cassandra from the Malifaux range. I was inspired to paint this from watching the painting clinic. He has a phenomenal pair of videos on painting Cassandra, and I really love the model. So I painted that model probably 6 different times. In fact, I still have one unpainted for like a rainy day. Like if I'm really down and I want to paint something for fun, that's what I'm gonna paint for fun.
All right. Anything else? Is there anything else to add to that, or are you done with that question?
I guess that's it. Yeah, I guess that would be it.
All right. Now, number 7, you already asked me about this one.
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion of a model maker to a war gamer?
Okay, so I guess we're comparing.
It's like model maker / painter / war gamer that only like.
Okay, so the way I look at this is there's basically 2 ends of the spectrum for the hobby, right? And you have a hobbyist on one side, and you have a gamer on the other side. And most war gamers kind of fall along the spectrum between, we'll say, painting, building and painting versus playing. And most gamers usually do a little bit of both, but they have a leaning one way or the other. The main difference, I would say, is a hobbyist is their passion and their obsession is really the building and painting part. So they're going to get highly technical. They're going to get intense with regards to building and painting the model. But when you put these models on the board for them, they're probably not going to remember a whole lot of the rules of the actual game, and it's probably not going to make as much a deal for them, whether or not they win or lose games. A gamer or somebody more towards the other side of that is the opposite. So they have to build their models, and they may or may not paint their models, but their passion and their intensity will be in understanding the rules of their game, in spending more time and energy lining up their games, or even playing competitively. So that's really the spectrum of what I would say, as opposed to model maker versus gamer. I would just say hobbyist versus gamer. Now, for me personally, I don't make a distinction. I don't see myself, and the way I put this is, I can't do one without the other. In other words, I'm not going to build and paint a model unless I'm playing games with it. So that's kind of where I fall. So and vice versa, I can't play a game, and I've never played a game with unpainted models. I can't do it. It just doesn't sit well with me. It's not representative of the game I want to spend time and effort on. If you're gonna sit me down at a table, and I'm not talking about the other guy's models, I'm talking about mine. If you're gonna sit me down at a table and ask me to put an army or something down, I'm going to make sure that I painted it. I'm going to make sure I've enjoyed that part of it before I game.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Ready for the last question?
Sure. Yeah.
Who do you think I should ask these questions to next, and why?
Oh, wow. This is also a really good question. I have 2 suggestions. One, my buddy Justin Borges, because he's a great guy, and he also likes to share his hobby, and he's a dad too, so he'd be a fun one to ask these questions to. And then I'm going to just go out of the blue and pick a guy named Paul Alba, who I've never met or interacted with, but his channel is awesome, and I want to know more about him. So those are my picks.
All right. that's the questions. Thank you for answering them and being part of it. Now, this is the part of the show I call Shameless Plug Time. This is where you can plug yourself, your channel, friends you want to plug, any groups you're part of, and anything like that. All I ask is, like I told you before, just give me the information later so I can put it in the description.
Okay, sure.
It's now, when you're done, just tell me you're done. So,
okay,
go.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to plug just who I was talking about, Justin Borges, in his channel. You're going to want to check him out. He's a miniature gamer and hobbyist. You know, he could use the subscribers, and he's really fun to follow on YouTube. I would also plug Paul Alba for the same reason. He's just a phenomenal painter. I don't know what kind of gaming he does on his channel, but you should check that out as well. On the local scene here in Southern California, if you're interested in tabletop gaming or miniature painting and that kind of thing, check out our Facebook group, SoCal Tabletop, on Facebook. It's a large group, it's very active, and you can find a number of different games, different gaming groups, whether or not you live in San Diego all the way up to Bakersfield. It's a very large group, and it's a great way to connect with the gaming community here in Southern California.
Alright. You done?
Great. Yep, that's it.
Right. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah. So, oh wow, it is late, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, cool.
Thank you everybody for being on the show, for watching it. Like I tell everybody, keep your blade sharp and keep your hobby fun. Bye everybody.
Bye.